Hey guys, today I'm going to be making a carpentry marking knife. So this is used to mark up wood when you need to be super accurate and the width of a pencil line is just too wide to be as accurate as you need to be. I have a friend who used to say, you're only as accurate as your line is thin. And this is really true in a lot of crafts. I'll jump in here real quick with the finished knife to show you the difference a fine line can make. So here's just a piece of beech and I'll go ahead and mark it. And then next to it, I'll just mark it with pencil. So here you can see the difference in the thickness of the line. The pencil is like a millimeter or even a bit wider than that. And the marking knife is just really fine. You can get so much more accurate with this. While I'm in here, I'll show you why I designed the knife like this and show you the aspects that I think make this the best marking knife design. The main features are that it's one solid piece of steel. It's nice and heavy. I chose the diameter because it fits really well in my hand. It's double beveled and sharpened on both sides, so you can mark against something on the right or on the left. And the back of the blade is flat and in plane with the handle of the knife. This is a really nice feature because you can put it flush up against something that you're marking against and just draw it right across. If there's a bevel on the back side or a wooden handle sticking out off the back, sometimes you have to cock the knife out this way or this way to really be able to get the knife in tight and close. But with this, it can just go flush right up against it. That's important because when you actually cut into the wood, the flat back of the knife is actually cutting perfectly perpendicular to the plane of the wood. If you're just marking to make a cut, it doesn't make a huge difference. But if you're going to make a tenon, for example, you can come in with the marking knife and really cut in quite deeply. That way you've established a perfectly perpendicular shoulder on this side of the wood. Then you can come in with a chisel on the other side and just gouge in a little bit. And by doing this, you're creating a trough for your tenon saw to sit right in. So once you remove that piece, you've already established a perfect perpendicular 90 degree on this side. Your tenon saw can sit right into this trough and you can cut a perfect tenon. All right, back to the metal shop and I'll show you how I make this knife. So I'm gonna use this 3/8 or 10 mil round piece of spring steel. I got this off a car coil spring and I'll link a video showing you how I process those down to usable spring steel. And the first thing I'll do is just throw it in the forge and get it perfectly straight. All right, now it's straight. I'm gonna throw it back in the forge, get it nice and hot and give it a quick brushing. Then I'll actually start the forging. So I'm just gonna let it cool a little bit because I don't want the bar to be flexible at all while I'm forging it, and then I'll just reheat the tip so that I can start forging that into the knife. So the shape is gonna be sort of like a diamond arrowhead where it flares out on both sides and then rejoins the handle. The back will be perfectly flat and flush with the handle, and it'll be a pretty standard 20 degree primary bevel and another 2 degrees on a secondary. So first, I'm just gonna start tapering the end. Get some more heat. I don't want to go too thin with it because I want it to be nice and sturdy if you really need to push in and make a deep mark. But I also need to make it thin enough that I can get nice 20 degree bevels on it. Okay, I've got the basic shape I want. Now I'll start adding a bevel to it. So now I'm just going to come right to the edge and start adding the bevel. So now I'll be working off the back of the anvil here so that the handle of the knife will be in plane with the flat back of the knife end. So the back is nice and flat and in plane with the handle. The center of the two bevels is in line with the handle. This is about done with forging, and the rest is going to be done on the grinder. But before I go to the grinder, I'll get this nice and hot, give it a brushing and a coat of beeswax to protect it from rust. Then we'll head to the grinding room. I'll let this cool down a bit until it gets to a nice temperature to put the beeswax on it. So I'll just give it a good coat of wax, and then that'll protect the handle, and any extra on the end here will just get ground off when I take it to the grinder. So I'm just going to double check the back is nice and flat, and then grind in a bevel on each side of this. Next, I'll clamp this up and cut it to length, and I'll use an abrasive to cut it because it's really strong steel, really tough stuff, and I wouldn't want to put that on a blade. And then back to the grinder just to round that off. And now back to the clamp, and I'm just going to finish up the initial grind on the blade edges. Okay, this is looking pretty good, so now I'll take it over to the induction forge and heat treat the knife end. If you're still with me and you're enjoying the video, a like and a subscribe would really help the channel. Thanks a lot, and I'll get right back to it. The first step in heat treating it is to quench it. What I need to do is get it nice and hot, just past the point of being non-magnetic, which you can actually test for. I could hold a magnet to it right now and it would stick, and as it approaches that temperature, the magnet would just stop working. And that's when you know you're at the right temperature that you can quench it. So I'm just gonna get it nice and hot and then put it in vegetable oil, which is a great medium for quenching this kind of steel. You wouldn't want to use water, it just makes it too brittle, you can get stress cracks. And there's other kinds of oil that you can use, but vegetable oil works great. So I'm just going to get it nice and hot and stick it in the oil. So I'm just going to heat it all the way through to get a nice even heat. And we're getting close. And we'll go to the oil. All right, so that should be quenched, and I'm just going to leave it here to cool off fully, and then I'll come back and anneal it. So this should be cool enough to touch. I'm just going to wipe off the excess oil. The next thing I'm going to do is just polish it. I need to get it nice and shiny so that as I temper it, I can see the colors change. So that should be good enough. It's shiny enough, I can see the colors run. This will actually be really quick. Should take probably less than a second or two. And what annealing does is softens the metal, because right now it's really hard and brittle from quenching it, so brittle that you could easily chip it, and then just tempering it will add the right amount of toughness to the steel and soften it just a bit, so for a knife blade it'll be just the right amount of hardness. And that's it. So you can see a straw color on the edges here. That means it got to about 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 Celsius, which is just the perfect for tempering. So now I just need to take this to the wood shop and give it a final sharpening. So I'm going to start with 300 grit on this diamond hone. I'll add a bit of lapping fluid. And I'll just start on the back first. Okay, the back's pretty good, so now I'll flip to the front. So I can tell as I'm getting close that this silvery part has been ground down. This side's almost done. There's just a little bit right there in the middle that hasn't been hit. So I'll just hit that and just keep going until I get nice, flat, straight edges, and then I can switch to the 1000 grit. I can feel the burr on the back of each side, so it's getting pretty close. Each edge is ready. There'll be a big burr on the back, so I'll just knock that off. And I'll flip this over to the other side, which is 1000 grit. Just a bit of lapping fluid. So that should be good for sharpening. So I'll just put this aside and get the strop, add some compound to it. And if the sharpening's been done well, then it shouldn't need too much stropping. Nice and light, just about maybe 10 passes on each side of each blade. Okay, and I'll just give it a test. So, cutting paper pretty well. So now I'll just grab a piece of hardwood and test it on that. Here's marking a hard old piece of oak. There you go, works great. So here we go, all done with the marking knife. This really makes me want to go make something out of wood. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll see you guys next time.